Hello and welcome to the first episode of the On the Chase podcast. I'm your host, Alex Curtis. Joining me today is Andrew Paskey and Wayne Houston. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. How's it going, Gerds?
I need to remember how to
Fantastic, Gerds.
speak first, but
You do.
once I do that, I'll be.
Everything's gonna
Alright,
be okay.
yeah. So today, we're just gonna go into a little bit of background about ourselves. Then we're going to touch, I think it's going to be very briefly on the banning of RR, mainly because I'm pretty sure we are all in agreement that is fantastic. Um, and then we're going to talk briefly on all of the spoilers we have had for Lapis Cluster so far. We're just going to do a brief overview of things. We're not going to go card by card because we don't got time for that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So let's start with about ourselves. Let's pretty much just go over what our TCG experience is, right? So as far as Force of Will goes, I've been playing since Lane. When did we start?
I'm gonna say it was like
Last summer.
August
It
2015.
was around this time last year.
Yeah, because it was just before the A0 starter decks launched.
Yep. So it was right around this time last year. So for a year. In that year, I have a couple AGP top 32s, top 16 at Nats under my belt. I got one TCG player PA States. That's all I got competitive so far. We'll change that next season. So for other card games, I first started the other major card game I've played was Magic the Gathering, which I first started back in 2011, when the 2012 core set came out, and then into Innistrad, and played that pretty relatively not like super competitive, but like local competitive, pretty much until we started playing Forcible, and I stopped playing Magic competitively. We still play EDH, that's pretty much all we do Magic-wise now. Also played Card Fight Vanguard for, holy crap, I think that was, we're coming up on 4
2014
years.
August.
No, we're coming up on 4 years. Or was it?
No, it was.
No,
It was when
it
I
was
got
my
back from
junior year,
Canada.
or sophomore? Okay,
No,
okay.
it was when I got
3
back from
years.
Canada. Yeah. No,
Three.
we're just in 2 years right now. It's 2016,
Are we?
Gerds. It's
Oh,
August
God, dude,
2016.
that's...
Only been 2 years.
Oh, I don't even remember how time works anymore. Sure.
I can
So
tell.
2 years. 2 years of that card game. And then before that, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And a little bit of Pokemon. Actually, and a little bit of Magic too, very briefly when I was younger. Nothing too serious, obviously, as you do when you're like 9. But yeah, that's it for me. So whoever's next.
Andrew, speaking of, starting at like 9, I think that's a perfect segue for you then.
I agree. I think it is a perfect segue. So I'm Andrew Paskey. Let's see. I started Force of Will just before Millennial of Ages started. So that's like a couple months before you guys started, because the starter decks came after that. So that's a little over a year and a couple months. Not much different. In terms of successes I've had, the 2015 Halloween ARG States, I would place second. For Pennsylvania, I have a couple of AGP top 30, well, 30 something, what was it? Yeah, top 32s. Nats placed 25th, so not terrible there. Other card games, I played Magic. I've been playing it since 2001. Odyssey was the first block I ever played, so that's now 15 years. I was like 9 when I started playing Magic. A lot of that time I played locally, nothing too competitive until I got into college, where I started going to GPs and PTQs and RPTQs when they started coming out and all that stuff. Never met huge success there, as that was really the start of my competitive career, but a couple of things got close, but nothing significant. Other card games, I dabbled in the Pokemon one a tiny bit, not much, and the same with Yu-Gi-Oh! Only a little bit, nothing more than casual there. I think that about sums up my TCG history.
Then I guess that just leaves me, and I'll probably be the shortest of the bunch because I only picked up TCGs back in September of 2012. Picked up MTG with some friends from high school. That was just before Return to Ravnica dropped. I've been playing Force of Will since August 2015, like we were talking about with Gerds. Pretty simple. just been playing that. In terms of placements, I took fourth at the PA-TCG Player States. I've top 32'd at Richmond. I actually hit 17th place at Richmond. And my only dream in this community is to be the most recognizable squid/kid in the Force of Will community.
Hey, it right. My dream is to get someone to make a lounging vine Cooper level mat. Doesn't have to be me, but someone should do it. It would be amazing. We also did. I just realized we did just start playing Pokemon casually.
We did. We and I also noticed Six Stages has also started that as well.
I have heard. I saw Cosmo's post. Yes, no timing really works out.
Yeah, but alright, so that's a bit about ourselves. Let's move on. So, as we all know, Reflector Train has now been banned in New Frontiers once Lapis Cluster starts. And I also just read, according to Jordan, it will most likely be banned in Wanderer as well. So, I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure at least 3 of us are all in agreement that this is a fantastic move by FOW Co. When it was like so people started wanting it banned as soon as like it was in Twilight Wanderer, right? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it was Twilight
It was
Wanderer.
in the Twilight Wanderer, and I remember people were calling for it to get banned then, and I was like, no, that's too soon. Even into the Moonlit Savior, I was like, we still need to give this time for them to, print something. But with Battle for Adaractia, doing nothing except making literally every other lore mostly irrelevant because of Black Moonbeam and Reflect being able to run it so easily. I am completely okay with this ban, and especially because of the Astral Ruler changes, Reflect is even more insane. So again, completely okay with this ban. I'm good. I'm happy about it. I have an Uber and I don't even care. I'm not even gonna try to sell it. I'm not gonna burn it, but
You don't want to make a Reflect barbecue?
No, I'm good. Blandon filled my needs for that.
No, but I agree. I'm really happy the ban is happening. I mean, I think it'll be good for the game's health in general because I saw a lot of frustration among people, both competitively and at the more casual level, just being frustrated about Reflect being really the only ruler to play. And I know, myself included, want to play other rulers besides Reflect. So I think it will bring a lot of people back to the game that were tired of it. So I think just in general it's a good move as a company to help the game grow. Because I was a little concerned if it didn't go away, how the game was gonna, how its health was gonna be moving forward with New Frontiers. So I'm happy it's gone.
I'm gonna parrot these two in terms of their opinions on Reflect needing to be gone. And like Gerds, I originally didn't think that it needed to be banned. I think the first errata they did was fine. But as time went on, as we went through Moonlit Savior, and it was still majority of Reflect topping, you gotta wonder, why didn't Force Wilco look to, arguably the biggest card game ever, Magic, look at their ban lists for their formats? Like, the reason they banned Pod was because it was OP, it was because too many people were playing it. So it's almost to the point where there was plenty of lessons that they could have learned without having to, lose the player base that they potentially did from letting Reflect stay so long. But I think now that Reflect is gone, you're going to see a lot more ruler diversity and more decks being run with cards meant for those rulers, as opposed to a one ruler format for all intents and purposes where you could build anything because you have such a consistency engine on field.
And just as far as Pod goes, that was also because
Yeah, I was gonna comment. I remember I played Modern during the Pod era, and it was insanely consistent. I mean, I played the deck; it was absolutely nuts. But
I too was a Pod player.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts how powerful and consistent that deck was. So,
but
yeah, I'm surprised that they did.
But
Splinterton was the first deck I built in Modern, but I jumped on Pod when that deck came around. But anyway, I agree that Force should have done it before they did it now, but I'm glad that they, eventually did it.
Absolutely. Especially, as Gerd said, with the Astral changes, free card draw for 0, no matter what, kind of broken.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was getting to the point where it's like, okay, if something doesn't change, you're gonna Like, the game's already hurting, but I don't think it's to a point where it wasn't recoverable. But, like, if you don't do something, it's gonna seriously hurt, and it's gonna suffer.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
I agree.
glad
I
that
think
they.
I think the game is easily recoverable. It was hurting, and I could tell the community was hurting a bit, but it's definitely at a position where I think it can recover, and I think it will recover, especially with the new stuff, the new set coming out. There's a lot of really exciting things in it that I think will help turn the tides, and the game will proceed in a growth.
Yeah.
There's
Speaking of. Oh, I was
Go
saying,
ahead,
speaking
Seth.
of the new set, let's transition. But if you have
Yeah,
something else you
how
want to
about that
say,
segue
go
That was
right there?
I was trying to jump on that segue, but it was moving without me.
Yeah, it's only for one person anyway.
You weren't leaning forward enough.
Yeah, really,
I was
you need
leaning
to
too
lean
far
a little-
forward, and it ran over.
Ah,
Yeah.
that'll do it. But yeah, like, so honestly, looking at this set has been this is like the most excited I've been for sets since Xi'an came out. Granted, that's only 2 sets, but like Battle for Attractia kinda sucked, if you ask me. At least the rulers weren't very good.
Hey,
And
Battle for Attractia gave us machines. It gave us
Sure
our
did.
mechanical lord and savior.
so
Sure
I'm gonna
did.
echo Battle for Attractia kinda sucked.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, come on. You know when you said that I was gonna say that. Don't even act
yes,
surprised.
I'm aware.
But yeah, like but like honestly, with the exception, I mean most of the rulers that we've seen so far, right, look relatively exciting. With the exception of kinda the blue starter deck one, whose name I can't even remember, and I'm looking at the card right now.
Mercurius.
Mercurius, the red one, who is the archer dude, whose name I also forget, because he's not
Mark.
very good. Sure, and Melium. Sorry, Ashley. I'm very impressed with the rest of the rulers. Like Zero looks great. Yogg's interesting. We've had a very long discussion about Yogg and its place in the world. And I'm curious to see what he does. I am super hardcore on the Zero and Featsing hype train. Wukong seems a bit underwhelming to me, but no.
Yeah,
He's
I would
got a
agree. A
cloud.
lot of the he does have clouds, real exciting. I mean, I would agree for most part. I'll disagree with you a little bit on Milliam. I don't think he's super amazing. You gotta play him, but I mean, there's a lot of fairy tales that are being printed, and the fact that you can play all 5 colors without having a really stressed out stone base is not something to ignore. So maybe not right now. He might not be super good, but who knows? Maybe in a set or two there'll be some crazy fairy tales, and it'll actually be
Yeah.
really worth playing him.
It'll
He has
be
potential,
interesting
in
to
my
see.
opinion.
I agree. Right now, I'm not too stoked on him. It'll be really interesting to see if there can be some combination of like special stone hate and just like above average resonators or fairy tale resonators that just push him to being a solid deck. Because now with actual rulers changes, you're never losing out on that will fixing. You just have that forever and always, no matter.
So
Yeah, you're never
Well,
punished, which is good.
I guess someone could final forfeit you for a turn. But outside of that, you're never getting punished really for it. So I can definitely see a world where he is good. I don't think from what we've seen so far that we're in that world, but time will tell.
Things could change. We'll see.
Things could
But no, I'm definitely right there with you on the Zero and Featsing hype train. I'm so excited to play Zero. So excited.
I think Zero is going to be Zero's going to instantly lend herself to control so hard. Instantly
Absolutely.
jumping on Esper, which for those of you who aren't Magic players wouldn't know, that is going to be light, dark, water. Because obviously she's light and dark in and of herself. So you get the light stuff for the removal, like her remove thing if something's attacking, which is only 1, which again will never cost 2 because of the new Astral Rulers change. I also just realized
Yep.
I wonder if Sherazad's better now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she sure
side,
is.
Side segue real quick. But like you also, because if you run blue, you get access to separation of body and soul. So like you have you can use her on her ruler side to pump something and then separation it. Not ideal removal, but it's still solid removal. It's like 2
Yeah.
will at sorcery speed where you can split one of them across another phase on your turn. So it's not you can do it before recover and then separation something, so it's not like ideal, but it's not bad either. And just her ability to just remove most of the symbol skills of J slash resonators is just fantastic.
A real,
Fantastic.
yes, a real hoser for aggro. Removing the swiftness from their Lancelots and anything off of Flame King Shout and anything seems really good. And I'm just gonna gush for a minute about her removal spell. That Zero's Magic Light. For anyone not aware of what that is, it's 2 will quick cast. If your ruler is 0, it costs 1 white less, so it'll be just 1 light, and it's remove target attacking or blocking resonator from the game. And I think this removal spell is amazing. It's going to be instant speed, 1 mana if you're playing 0, just remove something, because as of right now there's not really many resonators that you get much benefit for if they're not attacking or blocking. So for the most part, I think it's just remove target relevant resonator for 1 white, which I think is just insane.
Yeah, like, yeah, like there's not really any resonators right now which just want to sit on the board and use some sort of activate ability. And like you can just sit there and not attack me with your big thing. That's fine. You're not gonna kill me otherwise. Like outside of Arthur, which technically never has to attack a block to do its thing. I really can't think of anything else. Like there's Guinevere, but that's very whatever. Like sure, you can sack your stuff. That's go sack your rook eggs to tutor your Lancelots that you can then not attack me with. That's fine. Um, I'm trying to even think of anything else that I wouldn't want.
The only thing I can see of right now that I'm looking at is Zero's Familiar, because it gives your J-Ruler barrier. So if you're playing a J-Ruler centric deck, then I guess that can be useful. But I mean, if you're playing a Control Zero deck, you're going to have Black Moonbeam, you're probably going to have some other sort of removal. And if we're going Esper, like you're saying, we have Time-Space Anomaly, so we can just kill the Familiar and then Black Moonbeam their thing. So I don't even think that card is a particular hoser for it.
I mean, even on that note, I don't think Black Moonbeam's going to be nearly as prevalent. Words are hard again. Because, like, outside of, like, Xion, who you can use your Hydromonicas to consistently tutor when you need it, in most other decks, like, you can't run more than one of. And most other decks don't have a way to tutor it. So, like, you're either just happening to draw it and it being useful, or you're going to draw it and then it's just going to sit there as a dead card in your hand. Or like they're just gonna be playing Windsclude anyway, so you're gonna have it and just be sad. I honestly, I think we're gonna see that card see a lot less play, at least as far as main boards go. Like if someone's playing an all-in ruler deck against me and like they want to flip as early as possible and like try to just outrace a Moonbeam, I will gladly bring in like bring into up to like 3 from sideboard. If your whole strategy is to kill me with your ruler and I Astral and you pretty much just lose the game, not Astral, but flip it back, you can't J, and you pretty much just lose the game, doesn't matter if I draw that dead card because you're not doing anything else. So like outside of that, I think we'll see him in sideboards, but I don't think they're going to be main board nearly as much.
I'd agree with that. That's a fair argument.
I think the only, like, outside of Xion, the only decks that are going to have them mainboarded are going to be dominantly dark decks. You're not going to see it in something that's just splashing it, because before you could just splash, when we got Dual Stones back, you just splashed it for the sake of having it as the one of there. And if you got the stones for it, you got it. And if the stars aligned, you were able to cast it and potentially astral your opponent's ruler. I think now you might see it in maybe Zero as a one of main, maybe depending on how your shell is. I see Zero and Yogg Sothoth both having huge potential as utter hand disruption shells, because that there's no better form of control than, okay, all those cards in your hand, they're now not. Have fun.
Amen. You know me. You guys know me. And for everyone listening, you'll come to know that hand disruption is my favorite form of interaction. I love discard spells, and especially forced ones. Like this, another great segue. The Nameless Mist, another fantastic card. I'm really excited for. For anyone that played, it is for anyone that played Magic. That is basically duress. For those of you that want to know what the card actually does in terms of force, it's Nameless Mist. It's 1 black for a chant. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a non-resonator card, they discard it, and then you put a +100/+100 counter on a resonator you control. So it's got a little bit more than just hand disruption, but I'm super excited to play this card along with Scorn and Lapis's Darkstorm and just tear everyone's hand apart. This is one of my favorite things to do in card games.
And don't
See, I'm on
forget,
the
if
other.
something happens to slip by, that wonderful space-time anomaly, you just give things -5/-5 and draw cards for days.
So happy, making me so
I'm
happy.
on the other. I'm on the other end of that control spectrum. I'm all about permission and remove. You get to have the things that I say you get to have.
Now, speaking of permission and removal, there's been a few interesting removal spells that we've seen, and speaking of, the darkness spoilers, Resonance of Madness, where you have to, it's what, Bone Splinters from MTG? You have to
Yes.
sack a
Yep.
Resonator to destroy a Resonator?
Sack Resonator, Destroy. Yeah. Yep.
Yep, that is Bone Splinters.
Yes. Splinters. It sounds much more
So
painful.
I like it, but I still think, and this is another discussion we had before, I still think we need a 2-drop unconditional removal spell in this set to make control have a ample chance of being a viable archetype without
Yeah.
having to run specific, like with Zero's Magic Light. Sure, that works in other decks as a 2-drop, but it has to be attacking or blocking. Just another stoning would be perfect, and I know some people will disagree with that, but you have to think we've had a meta where we had 2 of the best removal spells ever printed at that point, one being an unconditional removal spell, one being an unchaseable 800 burn spell, and the other being Endless Night. The meta can survive with multiple unconditional removal spells of varying costs.
I would
I
agree.
agree with you on that.
I think even doing something kind of like a Doomblade type of thing where there's a kind of a situation for it, but not super restrictive like some of the removal we've had where it's like destroy target non-Cthulhu, I think is a removal spell we have, but something that's like destroy target non-darkness resonator, even something like that for like 1 in a darkness, quick with a chant with quick cast that says destroy target non-darkness resonator. I think even that would be just a good boon, for the control decks to have
Yeah,
as a compromise.
I'd be fine with a Doomblade.
We have a was it chant? One sec. It's either a chant or it's a chant. Okay. It is a chant with quick cast where each player banishes a non-Cthulhu resonator.
Yeah, encounter with a Cthulhu.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so it's both players and it's not a targeted removal. It's less accurate than that, which
Yeah.
I think we need something that targets, but I think it can have some sort of restriction on it, but I don't think it should be very restrictive. Like it should say everything but this one, will aspect can be destroyed. Would be good.
I'd be fine with that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the things, like, the reason why an encounter with Cthulhu is potentially so weak in that regard is, let's take an example of the new Feat Sing. If you cast any spells on your opponent's turn and they go to try and force you to banish things, you just cast another spell, sack an elf, and you don't have to worry about losing anything important.
That's
Yeah,
assuming
or
Same
if they
thing
have
goes for
already have an elf.
that's assuming you don't already have an elf, but the same goes for machines. If
Yeah, that's
machines
very true.
start flooding their board, if you offer them a sack outlet for their Roblox or their TikToks, they're more than likely going to take that because it just replaces itself.
There's
or
there's
Rook
so many
Egg.
cards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
there's
Rook
so
Egg
many
too.
cards.
Like if they have a
or
Rook Egg.
Messenger's Familiar or Outflow Scout. There's so many cards that replace themselves. It's just not.
Or even
terribly
this new
worth it.
card, Heaven-Bound Pheasant, the 4/4/3 flyer that when it dies, your opponent discards a card. Like that's another card to play that makes you not want to play that card. I don't know. I think there's a lot of a lot more downside to that card than upside for playing it.
Agreed.
I agree. I am in no desire to run it. Like even what's the name of the card? Why am I blanking? Not Endless Night. I am looking at the pile of cards right now. Soul Hunt. There we go. Even Soul Hunt tends to feel less like even when you like can discard something that you can abuse it for, it tends to feel less like a 2-for-1 and more for like either they came out even or ahead somehow. Like
Or even
it doesn't feel great most of the time.
no, and sometimes it even's a 2-for-1 on yourself, which is even worse.
Yeah, like those sorts of effects need to be things like Mozart, which like you're using that for something else, and that added effect is just gravy.
Yeah.
Or we'll go with
gravy.
juice. It's just juice.
Oh,
It's
pure juice. Callbacks to the local
Pure
game
juice.
shop.
Pure juice. Yes, like I'm not a big fan of those effects. But speaking of Mozart, we do have the new card, which I will now the monkey trapped in. Is that trapped in life? Is that what that says?
Yeah, trapped
The
in
Monkey
life.
new
trapped in
Rasputin.
life.
Yes, the
New
new
Rasputin.
Rasputin, which will also now be known as Harambe. Hence,
I'm sure it will
I
be.
declare.
I'm sure it will be.
Memes never
I'm
die,
sure
boys.
someone's already made
Memes
that
never
joke.
die.
I'm sure someone's
No
already
dreams,
edited it.
only me.
Speaking
It'll
of
be
that
interesting to
card
see.
and the deck that it came from, why is there only one vampire?
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
It's a
Now,
deck called
granted,
Vampiric Hunger.
and it's got one vampire. I mean, now to be fair, that vampire is awesome, and I really like that card. I think it's really good, especially with that targeted discard spell. You just play Sarah turn 1, and then you go discard turn 2, and it's like, oops, I have a 600 attacker. I'm just gonna attack at you.
Helene
I'm excited.
technically has 5 vampires in 41 because the eternal vampire Mikage Sejuro is a vampire, and then it comes with 4 of that vampire. So joke's on you.
Gerds.
But the
Semantics.
yeah that vampire, which as I pointed out to Lane yesterday, is a fantastic play to play on turn 1, then turn 2 new bolt it, and then proceed from. It is the best play you could possibly do.
New. Oh yeah.
Wait,
When you
okay.
say new bolt, he means the thunderbolt or whatever it is. The new thunder.
Okay, Gerds, explain this to me, please. I'm a little confused at where your thoughts are here. I was not part of the conversation.
So you're confused because you're like, wait, Gerds, that sounds totally stupid, and you're thinking on the right track. So that's all I'm gonna
Because
say.
all it does is
Just kill your wrestling.
do things. It just kills your.
It just kills
There's
your
no
wrestling.
actual
wrestling.
need.
So you're just being
'Cause
a dumb.
He's just being a butt.
Dumb. I gotcha. Okay, I now understand what you're going at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so like, alright, so let's do this. Like, if you guys had to rank let's go with top 2 most powerful rulers. So far, we obviously haven't seen, as of us recording this, it's Lunia, right?
Yeah,
The red one.
Lunia and her
And-
reverse side, Nyarlathotep.
Yes, we haven't seen that yet. So bar that, which we'll see if that just blows my mind out of the water. What do you guys think the 2 most powerful rulers in the set are?
So my 2, I would say Featsing would definitely be the most powerful just because of its effects. The fact that it makes an elf on its ruler side. If it didn't make an elf on its ruler side, I'd put it at second powerful. But because it has that effect, I think it's the most powerful ruler in the set. And the second one being Zero, just because it has gives control a big boon, especially against the aggro decks.
I will agree with one of those placings. I think Zero is in the top 2, but I personally have her at number 1 because she is such a hard control shell. Feasting requires you to cast spells, and there's not going to be every situation that you're in, you're not always going to be able to cast 2 spells per turn to really utilize the elf generation ability. I would personally have to say, and this is definitely me being jaded towards
Is this going to be your bias?
Cthulhu's. This is going to be my bias.
It's
It's going to be my bias. But I'm a huge fan of Yogg Sothoth Ratchet Bomb effect, where you his limit is X X plus 1 when you judgment, and the fact that if you're playing him in a hand disruption shell, you really don't have to worry about them having huge board state, and if they do, you just judgment for whatever threatening will cost their creature is, or you just kill it, one of the two. Plus the fact that it just flips back safely, even if you're paying 0 for X, it flips back safely. You can potentially get 1,500 in, and then it's just back on your side, and you just lose 5.
Also, side note on Yogg, since we're looking at him, Gerds, we can jump back to year 2 in a second. It looks like he has a Keyblade. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
just
I was
looking at him.
actually just about to say that before I talked about mine. Well, Yogg does have a Keyblade, so he's got that going for him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the master of 1,000 keys, so I would assume one of them is indeed a Keyblade.
Ooh. Oh, yo, you know what would be awesome actually? So we've talked about what we think the Ubers are going to be. Obviously, we know the Ubers exist. We know it's going to be the rulers. We were talking about what we think is going to be accented. Layton was saying it would be really cool with Yogg if they accented the eyes, which I agree. Like the eyes,
The eyes
on his
around his
tentacles.
shoulders.
Yeah. But what if it was the Keyblade? That would be pretty baller too. Let's be
That'd
honest,
be a
though,
lot
it's
of-
probably going to be his hat.
It's probably gonna be his hat, or just
It's
the one
probably gonna
eye
be his
on
hat.
his hat. Just the one eye on his hat is probably gonna be it.
It's gonna be his the like tattered end bits of his shirt because FOW code doesn't like to accent the right things.
I mean, could be worse. Could be what we think Zero's accent's going to be.
Ugh.
Yeah. The like, I see everyone thinks it's gonna be the top of the hat, and I'm like, that's terrible. Then I was like, I'll take the gold accenting on the hat. That's pretty cool. Or the like, it's probably honestly, it's probably gonna be the not the hilt. What's that part of the sword called? The
The crossguard.
crossguard. Yeah, it's probably gonna be the crossguard of her sword, or like her stupid bottom of her skirt thing. Because again, why would we accent the right things? Ooh, she has a gold ring on. That's what it's gonna be. I figured it out. Let's move on. Or it's gonna be the tattoo face. I'm gonna stop talking about this because it's probably gonna be one of them, and I'm probably gonna be real mad. I'm gonna buy it anyway, but still.
Of course.
Um, so as far as me, so my two are Featsing and Zero. I don't really know which one I would put first, because like I'm a little bit biased leaning towards Zero because she just fits into a control shell super easily, and I am a control player at heart all day, every day, so I'm all about that. But also like the more I thought about Featsing, I remember we originally talked about Featsing, and I was like, she is terrible. What is wrong with you people? Then I actually read her, and I was like, oh, she does make elves on her front. Never mind. She's not as bad. But I think her a deck focused not on elves but on abusing the elf tokens, which shameless plug. I wrote an article about called The Whole New World because it plays very similar to Alice's World because it's all about using the elf tokens to power out Guibers and Titania. Yay!
Check that article out at twistedgaming.org.
Yeah, there's some fantastic Aladdin references. There's two. Because we named it.
You're not supposed to
I
tell them how
literally-
many, Gerds.
Hey,
They have to read it to find out.
I mean,
Bad.
you can read it to find out. Spoiler, we literally came up with I was like, hey Lane, what should I title this article? And he was like, ooh, A Whole New World, and I was like, okay, I'll add something somewhere. 'Cause it's already done. but yeah, so like just like looking like the deck list seems very like basic and all that, but like just like thinking it through, some of the things that deck can do is just like absolutely disgusting. I explained to Lane yesterday, like there's a line where you can turn to have Ender Totems with Titania, a Guiber, and an Adam Brawley, and like another Resonator on board, and that's just disgusting. And that's on the play. So like literally how that works is you turn one, drop a Regalia, tap for a stone, then you tap for a Sacred Elf, you trigger Featsing. In particular the list that I put together runs rulers, so you need to drop the Regalia. Then the next turn you drop Tama, draw a card, play any other one drop, Ponder, let's say, the new Ponder, just to find something. Not actual Ponder, 7 from the Memoria. Then you trigger the Featsing, then you tap your Tama and the two elves, and a blue to play Titania, then you incarnate the Tama and one of the elves for an Adam Brawley, add a white, play a Guiber. Like, yes, that's the perfect hand, but like, it's gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna happen every game, because it's not insanely consistent like Alice's World. But like, it's gonna happen maybe 50% of the time, and like, maybe the other 50% of the time you're still powering out a Guiber or Titania on turn 1, you're just not getting both, so it's not absolutely disgusting. But like, just like some of the things that deck can do is just, ugh. It terrifies me. Also, a turn 1 Gliber if you're on the draw. That's my personal favorite.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
So
But-
if we're talking about other disgusting things, mine's not quite as disgusting, but if we're talking about silly combos that this set has enabled, I have discovered that in the new Frontiers coming up, there will be a way to infinitely attack. I don't want to go into much detail about it, but I just recently this week, if you're listening to this as it comes out, just recently posted my own article. It's called The Little Combo That Could. So if you want to check that out on twistedgaming.org, I want to leave it more of a surprise. It's an interesting little combo, but it does allow you to attack infinite times and kill, if you're somehow in a multiplayer game, it kills everyone.
So quick sideway question. At some point do you have a picture of Thomas the Tank Engine in your article?
No, there is not. I didn't think of that. Why couldn't you have referred to this before?
Go change
I guess
that. Right
so by the time that this goes live and that article goes
there will
live,
be.
There will be.
There
you know
go.
what you
Meta.
could do? Use my WordPress image.
just put it at the end.
Just put it at the end.
Put it at the end. Oh boy.
I forgot we had that.
It's.
But
oh,
I just
boy.
realized Brendy has been trying so hard to break that card, and yet you came up with that first.
Yeah, no, it took me, I don't know, it took me a while looking through the list, but I'll spoil one thing to you guys. It uses one unsuspecting card from Vingolf 2. So, sometimes when you're looking to break stuff, you gotta look in random places.
Yep.
See, I really don't think you need to add the asterisk unsuspecting from Vingolf 2, because that's just kind of all of Vingolf 2.
That's true. It was a very underwhelming
Point
set.
taken.
Point taken, noted, and correct.
Yeah.
I would like to point out one last thing, because we are coming up on time here. One little combo that I've thought to be potentially hilarious that you could do if Whisper from the Abyss does not get banned in the Wanderer format. You can do some serious shenanigans, depending on the ban list that you're playing by, with Shift Gill from BFA and New Lumia while playing Tree. Super fun things.
I mean, you can also just do that anyway, but like the Whispers just enables you to do it really quick. But
Oh yeah.
I get what you're saying.
It also provides max value for when you shift your Lumia and and go back to 4,000.
Yeah, but like if you're playing Whispers, you might as well just play Murder Tree and just.
I
crush
mean,
their
you're
face
gonna be
with, like,
playing
6
Murder Tree
indoors.
anyway, because let's be real, Wanderer's gonna be degenerate as all get out.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you're
that's
true.
fine. Like Legacy and Magic is degenerate as all anything, but like had to keep myself PC there. But like
No, PG, not PC, because
P-
we all know you, and you are not PC.
I am in fact not a computer. But
Yeah, Mac
like,
user.
Wow.
I'm on a PC right now. We need some sort of format where it's dialed down. I'm completely okay with Wanderer being the absurdly degenerate, you're winning or losing the game by turn 3 format. That's completely fine by me. Like, you just need some sort of format where it's not like.
Agreed. I would agree.
So before we wrap up, do either of you have any other cards you want to just touch on real quick?
I do have one. The only other one is one that people have been blowing up since it was released. Fairy Tale Library Alexandria. There have been a lot of people freaking out about this card, and for people that aren't aware, this card is a 2-cost addition. When it enters the field, choose a race. Resonators of the chosen race have swiftness. People have been going nuts over this card. What do you guys think of it?
You know where it would be good? In the whole new world.
Goes real good in my infinite combo deck too, actually.
I would start
goes-
singing, but I'll spare all of you that torture.
Yeah, his voice cracks a lot. But no, I think Alexandria is going to be super relevant, because it's what's going to enable certain things to just overrun. Back in the day, we had Bonsai Attack and Grim Cluster, and now that with Sprint is a less effective Bonsai, but you can
So-
drop Alexandria super early.
So here's my thought on it, right? I'm probably gonna play 0, so I'm probably not gonna care. There's my thought.
Thank you for your input, Gerds. Much appreciated.
That's not
Very
really a
insightful.
thought. That's
again,
just kind of an assumption that we already knew based on what you said.
Somewhere on the site, just thoughts on Library of Alexandria. Playing 0, don't care. Gerds 2016. There you go.
So I think this card, before I wasn't really sure, especially that one card that was like destroy an edition or regalia or destroy all of them. I think it was torrent, destroy all of them. I wasn't sure whether that card was going to see play. With this card now being printed, I could see actually people playing mainboard edition hate, like, as a legit thing you probably should have in your deck for this and Barrier of Shadows.
So I think that real quick segue. I think that torrent. What's the actual name of the card? I'm looking at it. I just can't read it. Heavenly Gust is totally gonna see play, just because Valentina 2.0 is gonna still be a deck. So like it's gonna at least be in sideboard because they try to go off on you. You just nope.
Oh yeah, I always thought it was gonna. I always thought it was at least. I always thought it was gonna be a sideboard card, but I now think it could be mainboarded as well.
One last card that I want to touch on, and this should be the last one. The Flame Dragon of Altea. Everyone's freaking out over it.
Oh, I forgot about that card.
So here's the thing.
It's going to be gross when somebody Flame King shouts a 12/12 flying haste dragon in. Of course it's going to be gross. But that's why we need that unconditional removal spell or a Doomblade.
That's why, again, I'm going to be playing 0. So I'm just going to be like, that 1-drop removal spell. Oops. No, like it's a 2-mana cheated, or not 2 mana. It's a 2-card cheat, and I think it's fine. It's not like the end of the world. I honestly think, from what we've seen so far, Red is not looking to get a whole lot that's really good this set. Thank God, because Red does not need anything else right now.
I mean, I don't know. If you talk to Brendy, he's gonna find a way to break that invitation of disaster.
See, but like Brendy's gonna always want Mono Red to be a thing. As far as I'm concerned, Mono Red can go die in a ditch. I don't care. I just don't. Not my type of deck. I'd rather not play. But yeah, that's my opinion. Granted, my opinion is usually correct, but.
We'll beg to differ on that, but I think that it's time to wrap it up here. So we'll just say thank you all for listening to the first episode, and totally first episode of the On the Chase
100%.
podcast.
Stop. Let's do it.
Don't
You
tell
want
me
real
what to
quick
do.
talk about? I'm the host. Let's real quick touch on some of the site stuff. Just like real quick. So our plan right now is to try to post things every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. I don't know how true we're gonna stay to that. But
We will
if
at least
those-
post 2 out of 3 of those days each week. Guaranteed. 2 out of 3
That's
days.
fine. There you go.
Have at
Coming
least
from
something
Lane's
going
mouth
up.
and not mine. So the week that doesn't happen, don't give me crap. Give Lane crap.
I'm
but
the one who runs
wow.
the site anyway. I take all the credit.
Yeah. But I mean, we have some exciting things. We have Engine article coming up. I just started one, which I told Lane about. I haven't told Andrew about. So this is the first you're hearing about it. But
Ooh.
it's gonna be a lore type of article, but it's gonna be different than all the other ones, because like all the other ones talk about the specific lore of the game. But what I'm gonna do is I know you're gonna instantly say what this sounds like. But I'm gonna look at like the cards and like analyze the backstory and like how does that transition to the card game, starting with like Grimlock forward.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like
gonna be like-
Gaijin Goomba's Culture
Yeah,
Shock.
it's gonna be like
Oh
the
yeah,
Gaijin Goo.
yeah, you're right. It's totally like Gaijin Guma's Culture Shock. You are correct.
Forta TCG Force of Will.
See, well, for
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that'll be showing up at some point. I'm real excited about that one. Just a cool little thing. But other than that, that's it. So again, thank you for listening. Join us next time. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.